There's something magical that happens when a song begins and you know that you're about to be taken on a journey. Not just a melodic ride, but an actual story with characters, plot twists, and maybe even a moral or two tucked in between the verses. I'm admittedly biased here. I graduated high school in the mid-1970s, right in the sweet spot of what I'd argue was the golden age of narrative songwriting. This was when the airwaves were filled with musical short stories that could make you laugh, cry, or sit on the edge of your seat wondering what would happen next. Think about it. When was the last time you heard a song like The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald get major radio play? Gordon Lightfoot managed to turn a maritime tragedy into a haunting 6.5-minute epic song that had people mesmerized. Or consider Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle, a complete generational saga packed into 3.5 minutes that still hits like a punch in the gut decades later. The 1970s and early 80s seemed to be the perfect storm for this type of musical storytelling. Artists like Jim Croce, Billy Joel, and Bob Dylan weren't just writing songs, they were crafting miniature novels. Dylan's Hurricane reads like investigative journalism set to music. Johnny Cash's A Boy Named Sue unfolds like a perfectly timed comedy routine with genuine emotional depth. These weren't just catchy hooks and memorable choruses, they were complete narrative experiences. I think what made this era special to me was how these story songs, as I called them, crossed every genre imaginable. Country gave us Marty Robbins' cinematic western ballads like El Paso and Big Iron. Rock offered up David Bowie's space outing, Space Oddity, and the Eagles' surreal Hotel California. Even heavy metal got in the action with Iron Maiden's epic retelling of The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. I'll be honest, I don't listen to much contemporary music these days, and I'm probably showing my age here. Modern hip-hop and commercial country just don't grab me. But I can't help feeling like something's been lost in today's more formulaic approach to songwriting. Don't get me wrong, there are still incredible storytellers out there. Bands like the Decemberists carry the torch beautifully with songs like The Mariner's Revenge Song, and some artists across genres continue to craft narrative gems. But there was something about that particular era where storytelling seemed to be woven into the DNA of popular music. Maybe it was the influence of folk music's narrative tradition meeting the expanding creative possibilities of rock and pop. Maybe it was just the right cultural moment when radio was willing to play a 7-minute story about a doomed ship, or a complex character study disguised as a piano ballad. These songs work because they understood something fundamental. A great story, whether it's 3 minutes or 3 hours, needs compelling characters and emotional stakes. When Billy Joel painted his vignettes of bar patrons in Piano Man, or when Kenny Rogers spun his poker wisdom in The Gambler, they weren't just entertaining us, they were connecting us to universal human experiences through specific, memorable characters. Now, I realize I'm probably sounding like that guy who insists music was better back in my day. That's not quite it, though. Every era has its musical treasures, and I'm sure there are musical stories being created right now in popular music that I'm simply not hearing because of, what I listen to. What I'm really celebrating is a particular moment when storytelling and popular music seem to dance together with unusual grace and frequency. These songs reminded us that music could be a vehicle for something more than just, feeling good. It could transport us to entirely different worlds, all within the span of a single song. Since I don't know how to navigate the murky waters of YouTube copyright strikes, I didn't really put any music in this video, so if you want to listen to the songs I mentioned, I hope to link all of them in the comments below. So, enjoy.
So that's another video in the can. If you found this informative or interesting, please consider liking and subscribing down below. And remember, be excellent to each other.